The newest technique that we have been evaluating here at the Research Center is the use of a highly reflective mulch, sometimes in the industry also known as silver mulch or metalized mulch. And this is just simply a thin layer of polyethylene that has a highly reflective coating on the surface. Other research has shown that this can be very effective at reducing insect populations, and the way that it works is that most flying insects orient themselves to the sun, and because of the highly reflective nature of this metalized mulch, they get confused and disoriented when they begin to fly over top of the mulch because they see the sun reflection in the mulch. So we thought, why not try this around our greenhouses on a larger scale, see if we can't find a way to implement it around the greenhouse and have the same kind of success that we have also had out in the field. There are some particular directions and things that we've learned about putting this material down around the greenhouse. Let's take a look at some of those techniques. And here we are, we're just about finished putting down the metalized mulch around one of our greenhouse trials here, and boy, Wanda, it is really bright out here. I think I'm gonna have to put my sunglasses on. I know that you've been working with this metalized mulch for a good while and have learned some techniques to really improve how we're putting this metalized mulch down. Kind of walk us through a little bit, tell us some of the key steps that you found to be really important when we use this metalized mulch.
Well, the first thing through trial that we found was that you really need to have a ground cover down, so you really need to prepare your ground. I would come through if I had a grassy area and herbicide and kill off the grass, mow it very low, and then come back and put my ground cloth down. That way I have a nice flat surface to apply my mulch.
And of course that's one of the practices that we want to have growers implement anyway. So if we use that nursery cloth or ground cover around the greenhouse as a basis for applying this, that would fit in well. Once you've got the ground properly prepared, what else have you learned about the proper way to fasten this material down? It seems like the plastic is a relatively thin material.
This is a very thin, very delicate material. It's easily picked up by the wind. So if I was going to suggest, I would pick a nice calm day and I would want to do it either early in the morning before the wind picked up and the heat and the sun came out, or late in the afternoon.
And I can even feel the heat coming off of this plastic as we're here talking. So probably very early in the morning would be a good time to apply the material.
Yes.
What else have you learned about good ways of fastening this material down to hold it in place so that it doesn't blow around and rip and tear up?
Well, we found that if we only roll the roll out a few feet and tape and pin as we go, then we're better off than if we roll it all the way out and then we have to battle the wind getting up underneath it. So a little bit goes a long way.
And I see that you've begun fastening here, and I think that you have liked the way that the clear duct tape works if you're going to be connecting over layers of material. Is that the way that you would tape the seams?
Yeah, anywhere that the mulch overlaps itself and creates a seam, or anywhere that it's going to contact the ground cloth, I'm going to try and put that clear duct tape seam. It seems to adhere better than the fiberglass tape that we use.
Okay. And I see you've got a kind of an unusual looking pin there. We don't see that very much in the industry.
Well, these are ground pins, and they're generally used to hold down poly tubing or pin the ground cloth. Now this is a circle top pin, and it goes with the circle top pounder, and we found that you can stand up, and this is a magnetic end on here, and it adheres to the magnet, and then you can walk along and actually stick the ground pin in the cloth and not have to spend so much time bending over.
Okay, I think my foot's far enough away if you want to show an example of how you would do that.
I would find a spot, you want about a foot in between, and measure it up and put in your pin. Now the pin is going to stick to this metal cap on here, so if you twist a little bit as you go, it releases the pounder from the pin.
All right.
I would save that for as I'm walking and I'm laying my strips of adhesive tape down. I would use the pounder. If I'm working close to the mulch, I would just use a hammer in my hand.
Okay. So we're going to roll this out a little bit, and eventually we'll use the insulation tape and try to keep the roll tight ahead of you to finish out the job. And it seems like that insulation tape is a good strong material that will hold the pin and not allow the plastic to tear quite as much.
We tried another technique, but we found it didn't work quite as well. And this fiberglass tape is a double-sided sticky tape that's used in drywall construction. But we found that you can lay it on the plastic and have to pull it up if you need to, and it doesn't rip the plastic, but it's just enough support to keep the pins down as the wind comes in. It doesn't let the film rip around the pins.
Okay, well, let's give it a try. So Wanda, this is the tape that you use on the seams here to finish up the process?
Yes, we use the fiberglass tape in the centers just for support for the pins, but on this outside edge, that fiberglass tape's not going to keep the wind from getting up underneath the mulch. So we found that using this clear duct tape really adheres to the ground cloth and keeps the wind from being able to come up underneath the silver mulch.
And it's also strong enough to help support that pin. So in either kind of, whichever tape that you use, both of them serve the purpose to hold that pin and not allow the plastic to tear up around it.
All right, that's where most of the damage for the silver mulch is going to be, is from the wind coming up underneath it.
Okay. Well, it looks like you got a really good start at finishing up this project here, and I'm really excited about the results that we're seeing with this. This is brand new, and we've learned a lot with the parts of the research up to this point, and we look forward to some new results as we continue to do this work with silver mulch and helping us to reduce insects from getting into the greenhouse. Thank you very much, Wanda.
Thanks, Bob.